Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you, and I have to tell you guys that I have recently had the opportunity to get into my possession something spectacular. Now, I want to start out with something else that is pretty spectacular. This is my Spyderco Paisan. I did put a different clip on it there than you saw in the first impressions video. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan of Peter Rassenti. I'm a huge fan of his designs. I'm a huge fan of the integral frames that he does. And you know, the I got to handle Dr. Franke's Nirvana 3.0, and it was a masterpiece. It truly was. I guess it still is, but I don't have it in my possession, or I don't have it around me anymore. But I do like Peter's work an awful lot, and so I picked this up with a lot of anticipation for how much I was going to enjoy it. And I actually have been using it and enjoying it a whole lot, with the exception of this blade that is quite thick to the point that I think it becomes a bit of a problem for the overall design. Now, having gotten this and been checking it out, I've been aware of a different Peter Rassenti collaboration. You can see right here we've got a Custom Knife Factory card, and that's in fact what we're going to talk about, which is this knife right here. So this is a Peter Rassenti collaboration. Of course, it does have an Adam Purvis clip you can see there. This is not based on the Paisan or the Nirvana. This is based on the Peter Rassenti Satori, which is a large sort of tactical over-the-top knife, and certainly this captures that without question. Now, before we get into some of the details here, I want to just quickly show you the packaging. So this is the same little pouch that the Fief is in. It seems to be what Custom Knife Factory is doing these days. Here's the extra clip. But what I wanted to show you from this package that was really, really impressive is this little baggie right here. So let me open this up. Look at this, guys. So you have replacement parts for the very nice dual row ceramic bearings. You have a replacement lock bar insert, replacement blade stop here, pivot screw, and washers, the races for inside under those dual row ceramic bearings. So really, really cool that you get all of this. And I love the fact that if something were to go wrong with this knife, you have the replacement parts to deal with that right in the bag shipped with you. There's no, sending away to Russia and hoping they have some left and all that kind of stuff. That is a really, really nice touch, and I really appreciate when companies do that. Now, Custom Knife Factory is not the only one. A lot of Riet knives come with that same setup, and I have to say I really, really like it. Now, let's get to the knife itself. This, of course, is the Custom Knife Factory Peter Rassenti collaboration, and this is, of course, a sort of production version of his custom knife. And I've got to say, guys, that aspect alone, this is a very, very impressive piece. And I call it a piece. I mean, this is a knife that, I don't think anyone who says, what I really need is a big tactical folder, I'm going to go out and buy a Custom Knife Factory Satori, right? No one is doing that. If you want a big tactical folder, buy a Recon 1, buy a Formax, buy an 8010. I mean, they're all fantastic. They're all, they're all great knives. This is something you buy because you're a Peter Rassenti fan. It's something you buy because of the level of quality and fit and finish that Custom Knife Factory is able to hit. And of course, this one has the addition of this beautiful, beautiful clip. And so let's work our way quickly through the features of this. I'm not going to go into great detail with each of them because honestly, I haven't had enough time to get to know this knife. And so I'll save all of that for the full review. But what we have up here is this crazy compound grind on a massive piece of M390 steel, and it is really, really huge. Of course, we have the dual row ceramic bearing that you already saw, lock bar insert there. Flipper is sort of the main deployment method for this knife, but that fuller does allow you to Spidey flick it as well. Big heavy blade, so it doesn't fly out. If this blade weighed a little less, it would deploy with a little more authority, but you've got this massive hunk of metal that you have to accelerate here, so it does slow down the movement a little bit. And then moving down to the handle, I really, really like that they preserved Peter Rassenti's sort of Coke bottle shape here in the handle. Fantastic stonewash. I love the heavier stonewash where you get those little flecks of light showing. This is my favorite way of doing a stonewash. All right. Of course, it is an integral handle. Now, this is a heavy knife. There's no internal milling of any kind. There's no effort made to lighten this up. And honestly, on an integral handle, that's not really something you can easily do. I do like the way they've done the lock bar insert quite a bit. And then, of course, let's take just a quick look. It's hard to get good lighting indoors to really make that clip stand out the way that it does. But let me say this. I really, really like the addition of this clip on this knife with the black, and I've seen quite a number. In fact, when I was first arranging to get this, I thought it was just the standard version without the clip, and so I looked at some pictures of them and stuff, and kind of tried to get my head around what I thought of this knife before I committed to owning it. And the one, it was almost just a giant gray knife, and that was the only downside. So this little pop of color, I think, really, really works well in this particular case, even though a decorative clip is not my favorite option for sort of dressing up your knife. Okay, now let's go ahead and get to a quick rundown on the size here. We've talked about all the features, all the materials. Size on this is 9 5/16, so it is a huge, huge knife. It's 8 ounces, so it weighs a whole lot. And this knife gives you tons and tons of size. Everything about this knife is big, okay? The blade is big, it's heavy, it's thick. The handle is big. There are 4¼ inches of grip area here. So you just don't see that kind of thing, right? I'm used to talking about, 3½, 3¾ inches of grip area. So this huge, massive handle, it does feel very, very nice in hand for sure. The blade is 4 inches overall. The handle when closed, this is 5 7/16 when closed. It's almost like those giant cold steel numbers that we're talking about here. So overall, very large, very heavy knife. Not the heaviest one I have. Of course, my Formax is heavier. And at around 8 ounces, it's notable, but it's not the end of the world. And so I have to say, big knife, very over the top, very impressive. The only, the thing that stands out to me initially is the action is not fast. It doesn't fail to deploy or anything like that. And it's very, very smooth with those dual row ceramic bearings, but it's just not maybe as fast as some of the things we have gotten used to seeing from Custom Knife Factory. If I submit this, for example, notice when I flip it, it does flip with a bit of a pop. Now, this knife weighs quite a bit less, even though it is still very, very huge. And I will say the quality on both of these is second to none. Custom Knife Factory is kind of going above and beyond even what we're getting from other overseas, high-end knives. The details on this, on both of these, in fact, are really, really quite something. And both of these are knives that I think you buy more for the wow factor and for the piece of, the piece of functional artwork that is represented here, more so than because you want a functional cutting tool. So my last thoughts, as I kind of, give you my initial impressions on this, let me bring in all three of the knives that I feel like have a relationship here. We've got 2 Rassentis and then 2 Custom Knife Factory knives here. What I would say about this knife in particular is this is a knife for Peter Rassenti fans. Okay, I already said this is not the knife you buy because you just want a large tactical folder. This is a knife you buy because you love Peter Rassenti and because you want something special. Now, there were only 200 of these made, so they're not easy to get your hands on, but you will pay less than for a full custom Rassenti. And so whether or not you want to, spend your time waiting for a custom to be made and spend, $1,200 to $1,500 or more, or whether you want to spend your time searching on the secondary market for one of these Satoris, or I guess a Paisan as well, maybe an option for you if you're a big Rassenti fan. Maybe you already have a Nirvana if you're in that boat. that's who these knives are for. They are not for the person who just, hey, wants a good folding knife. This is for somebody who wants something a little bit different, a little bit special, and who is a bit of a Peter Rassenti fanboy, which I would certainly describe myself as. Okay, so there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts initially on this beautiful, beautiful knife. Let me give you one quick sort of look at this overall knife piece again. So starting with that beautiful blade with the satin and the stonewash, then moving on to the handle, really nicely contoured. And of course, the addition of that clip from Adam Purvis does really pop. And so there you go, guys. That is my initial thoughts. Those are my initial thoughts, I should say, on the Custom Knife Factory Peter Rassenti Satori. Very, very impressive. And I have been carrying this, and I'm going to continue doing that for the next couple of days. It's still that nice honeymoon phase. So I'm going to enjoy that. And I will come back with a full review of this knife in the not too distant future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.